I used to walk the school hallways like a shadow, there, but never really seen. People didn't dislike me, but they didn't notice me either. I wasn't loud, or funny, or especially smart. I was just Lily. A girl who liked quiet things, books, sketching leaves, watching the sky change colors at dusk. Since my mum passed away when I was 8, everything had felt muted. Dad worked late. Home felt like an echo. I didn't know how to ask for company, for comfort, so I stopped asking. I learned to hide myself in silence, thinking if no one saw me, at least they couldn't hurt me. At school, I sat alone during lunch most days. I told myself I didn't mind, but sometimes, watching other kids laugh with mouths full of food and confidence, I felt like I was standing behind a glass wall. I wanted to speak, to join in, but fear froze the words inside me. One afternoon, after a particularly heavy day, where I had raised my hand in English class, only to be talked over, I took a different path home. I followed a narrow trail behind the schoolyard fence, one lined with wildflowers and old trees. It was the kind of place no one really noticed. Maybe that's why I liked it. And that's when I saw it. A little bird, lying on the ground, its wing twisted, eyes alert but panicked. It was breathing fast, like its body knew the world was too big and too dangerous. Something about that moment stilled me. Maybe because I saw myself in that bird. Small, frightened, alone. I knelt beside it, whispering soft nonsense, letting it know I meant no harm. I didn't know what I was doing, but I gently scooped it into my jacket and brought it home. In a small box padded with towels, I made it a temporary nest. I searched the internet for how to care for an injured bird. And just like that, my life found a heartbeat outside of my own. I named the bird Echo. It felt fitting. Both of us being quiet sounds trying to survive in a loud world. That night, as I watched Echo sleep, I realized something strange. I wasn't thinking about how invisible I felt, or how lonely school was. For once, my heart wasn't focused inward. It was reaching out.
Every morning before school, I'd check on Echo. I'd gently change the bandage on its wing, give it water with a dropper, and speak to it softly, like my voice could mend something inside us both. At first, Echo was restless, flapping its good wing in fear. But slowly, it began to settle. Trust, I learned, isn't instant. It's built in quiet repetition. I started to change in ways I didn't even notice at first. I was still quiet, still shy, but I began to hold my head a little higher. My sketches became bolder, my colors more vivid. At lunch, I started sitting near people, not with them, but near enough to hear their laughter. And one day, someone smiled at me, and I didn't look away. I smiled back. It was during a biology class that things shifted. We were learning about ecosystems, about the balance of nature, and how even small creatures had vital roles. The teacher asked if anyone had a personal story to share about animals or nature. My heart started pounding before my brain could stop it. My hand went up. Everyone turned. I felt my face go hot, but I kept my hand raised. And then, I spoke. I didn't talk about myself. I talked about Echo, about how I found the bird, how it taught me patience, how helping something so fragile had made me feel stronger. I didn't say everything, but I said enough. and something happened I didn't expect. They listened. The class was quiet, not in that bored way, but in that leaning forward way. When I finished, the teacher smiled and said that was the most meaningful story she'd heard in years. Someone behind me whispered, "That was beautiful." I walked home that day lighter than I had in months. At home, Echo had started hopping around the box more, testing its healing wing. I knew it wouldn't be long now. That night, I sat beside the box and whispered to the little bird like it could understand, telling it how I'd never really believed I had anything special inside me, that maybe all I needed was something to care about, something to fight for, to help me find what had always been buried inside. Echo chirped, a soft, high-pitched sound. It felt like a promise, a reflection, a quiet mirror. The morning Echo flew was quiet, like the world knew something sacred was about to happen. I took the box outside to the backyard, where the sky stretched wide and open. The air smelled like grass and new beginnings. I opened the box slowly, giving Echo the choice. For a moment, the bird just sat there, still and uncertain. And then, with one strong beat of its wings, it rose. It wasn't graceful at first, but it didn't matter. It was flying, free. I stood there, my hands trembling, watching the bird I had saved disappear into the sky. I thought I would feel sad, but instead, I felt whole. Echo didn't need me anymore, and somehow, that meant I had done something right. In the days that followed, something changed in me for good. I started participating in class more often, even if my voice still shook sometimes. I shared my drawings with others. A girl from art club asked if I'd like to sit with them at lunch. I said yes, but the biggest change came during our end-of-term school presentation. One student from each grade was chosen to share a story, something meaningful. My teacher nominated me. The old me would have found a way out, but I didn't. I stood on that stage in front of my peers, my hands slightly sweaty, and told the story of a small bird that helped a small girl find her way back to herself. I didn't speak loudly, but I spoke clearly, and I spoke from the place inside me that had always been there, waiting to be heard. When I finished, there was a moment of stillness, then applause, real, loud, echoing applause. I looked out at all of those faces, some smiling, some surprised, and I realized something. I had become visible, not because I had changed into someone else, but because I had stopped hiding who I really was. The power wasn't in being loud or outgoing. It wasn't in being the center of attention. It was in knowing myself, in choosing to share even the smallest part of my heart with the world. That night, I looked up at the sky, wondering where Echo had flown. Maybe somewhere safe, maybe somewhere wild. But wherever it was, I hoped it knew the part it played in helping me grow wings of my own. Sometimes, what saves us isn't something big or dramatic. Sometimes, it's something small, a broken wing, a quiet gesture, a moment of connection. And through that, we learn that power doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it just waits, inside you. If this story touched your heart, feel free to share it. And if you've ever found strength in an unexpected place, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more heartfelt stories like this one.